Hey everybody, we are back again with another episode of the Nintendo Pipeline Podcast. I'm CMM, but you can call me Clay, and with me today I have...
One Up Muffin, but you can call me Jared.
And then we have a special guest joining us today. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Fork on the Discord, or Mono elsewhere, but you can call me Fork for now.
Sweet, sounds good. So today is kind of a special little thing that we're doing. It's all about the Game & Watch and some of the anniversary Game & Watches that we've gotten recently. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the most recent one, which is the Zelda Legend of Zelda Game & Watch. And then we're going to be building our own custom Game & Watches. So to start, did anyone here besides me buy the Zelda Game & Watch?
No.
No, I did
Nice.
not. I own the Mario one, but I skipped out on the Zelda one.
I
Cool.
think
And
they're
what-
very cute, though, and if I was to get one of them, I would get the Zelda one because I want to play Link's Awakening again.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about the Mario one too, but the Zelda one has a lot of improvements over the Mario one that came out last year. For starters, it has more games. It has Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and Link's Awakening on it. It also has a mini game that you can play with the new timer function. It has its own Game & Watch game on it, which this time it's Vermin. And it has a bunch of little Easter eggs and stuff in there. It's a very cute package. And when you turn it on, the little Triforce symbol on the back lights up.
Oh, I didn't
Which-
know about that. That's cool.
It's very cute. Yeah, I mean, I super love this thing. It has all the region variants for the different Zelda games that are included on it, which is an improvement over the Mario one.
Yes, I heard the
And,
Japanese one might actually have a different translation as well, or maybe an updated one.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I know there's like obviously there's gonna be like musical and sound differences because of the Famicom disc system. And I know the difficulty for Zelda 2 is much different, which is super cool. And there's also like kind of like cheat modes for each of the games. If you hold the A button for like 5 seconds, you can boot into like a max heart mode. So if you really suck at Zelda 1 or 2, you can start with maximum, health. And in Zelda 2's case, you get all the magic and all the moves, and all your levels are at level 8. So it's a pretty big advantage for Zelda 2.
Right.
Um,
Especially
now
Zelda
I know-
1. It's a great game, but it's really hard to refill your hearts once you go down to 0.
yeah,
Because every time you get a game over, you start with 3 hearts only. And it's not
Yeah.
like the enemies drop a lot of hearts either.
yeah, they don't. It can be a pain to, especially when you have all of the heart containers, and you want your sword beam back, which is only at max health. You have to kind of grind out hearts. I think it's particularly cool with Zelda 2 having the extra like cheat function. My only wish is that there was an option to just have it be infinite lives and have nothing else change. Because like giving you all the magic moves, all the extra like sword moves and stuff, and full hearts and all max levels kind of kills that.
You want to
game's
have some
progression.
challenge still.
Yeah. The Mario Game & Watch had an infinite lives option for its included games, which was cool. Did you play much of the Mario Game & Watch, Fork?
Yeah, actually, I quite like it. It's a great package, and I think it's a really great souvenir for hardcore Nintendo fans. Because, of course, the Game & Watch is before my time, and I think a lot of before most Nintendo fans' times. Most people probably started, if you started very early, you started with the NES or the Game Boy. So Game & Watch is even before that. So I've never owned like a retro Game & Watch before. So this is the first one that I've actually owned, and I've actually really played with any sort of long period of time. So it's quite novel. And of course,
Yeah,
Mario
it's
1
nice.
is a great game. Lost Levels,
Yep.
not so much.
Yeah.
But, it's there. There's always a novelty to it because, as a kid, I thought, wow, are these really like lost levels? But no, it was just a Super Mario 2 in Japan. They thought it was too hard for us. And they were, I guess, technically right, because it is a very hard
It
game.
was just too hard for anyone, was the
Yeah.
actual.
And I like Ball, the Game and Watch game they
Mm,
included with a Mario
it's a
head.
classic.
Yeah,
It's pretty simple, but it is fun and a little addictive. But I think it's a great package overall. Like the screen is very bright and clear, and the sound is great. And it
yeah,
has a lot of fun Easter eggs, like the how to draw Mario song is on there.
yeah. The little drawing Mario video in that is so much fun.
Yeah, for I think it was I can't remember if it was $50 or $60 for about that price. I think it's worth it if you're a hardcore Nintendo fan. It's something novel to put on your shelf.
Yeah.
So
Even if
it's
you
a
don't
Yeah,
good
play them, they're just beautiful
yeah.
collector's items.
It's a fun collector's item. It's hard to recommend unless like you're deep in the weeds with Mario. If you saw it and you're skeptical, you could maybe skip it. But if you saw it and were like me, who thought I got to buy that, then it's a good purchase.
yeah. And if especially if you see it on sale, because I've seen them the Mario ones in particular discounted. I can recommend that one more if it's a little bit of a discounted price.
Yeah,
Um, I
yeah.
do I do.
And
Oh, go ahead.
also, I apologize. The one thing I forgot to mention that was really exceeded my expectations is the clock that comes with it,
Yeah,
which I thought, well,
Yes.
who cares about a clock? I have a clock on everything. But it is fun to check out. I like the time differences, especially like the like 6 o'clock or so. The sunset is like really
yeah,
surprisingly beautiful.
yeah.
And
And you can like interact with it too, like drop enemies
yeah,
and
so I spent more time than I thought I would with the Mario clock.
yeah. I know specifically with the Mario Game and Watch, they kind of advertised, oh, there's 35 Easter eggs, and there are indeed 35 Easter
Mm,
eggs. A lot of neat stuff happens, well, not randomly, at set times, um, on the clock. Like there's a whole hour where you play as Luigi.
right.
There's hours where like certain enemies will pop out. Um, the Zelda one is kind of takes the Mario one's concepts and goes a bit farther with them. It adds the timer, which is not present in the Mario one,
Mm,
and the timer you can set to an interval, single minute intervals from 1 to 10 minutes, and you can just use it as a timer. But it has a mini game that's Zelda 2 styled, where you have to kill as many enemies as you can during that the time that you set, and before that even so one, it saves all the high scores for like every timer setting, so you can see and you can view a high score for 5 minutes versus 1 minute, versus 7 minutes. It also has three stages that you can choose between that that give different enemies, and it tracks all of these high scores independently, which is super cool. And then lastly, it adds there's a secret stage, which is a time attack mode, where you have a specific series of enemies that you need to defeat as fast as possible, and it counts up instead. And that high score is also saved separately, which I thought was very cute. Um, and for Zelda, they went with Vermin as the Game and Watch game, which I personally dig quite a lot. And they added a bonus difficulty level where it's basically at max speed all the time, and as soon as you make a single mistake, it's over.
well,
It's a game C, I guess is what they call it. Um, and the clock is fully playable. Zelda 1, you're kind of like every 2 minutes, the screen that you're on changes, and there's different enemies and stuff going on with it. And at specific times, like you're in dungeons or like getting items. The theming is kind of just like you going through the entirety of Zelda 1 in 12 hours. So usually like dungeon bosses are near the top of the hour. And then Ganon, I believe, is right before midnight. You can fight Ganon, and then the whole thing resets.
oh, cool. It really seems like
That's a
they
really
added quite a
cool.
lot compared to the Mario Game and Watch.
Yeah, especially with the regional variants all being there, and having individual save states. You can't like I should say suspend states, because you can't create like multiple save states per game, but each version of each game will have a suspend state, and it'll pick up right where you left off if you move off of it, um, which is super cool. And then they went and did the Triforce thing too, which is cute. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that this one functions better as a clock, because you can shut off the auto sleep function
Oh,
now.
great.
The Mario one, you'd have to leave it plugged in to have
How
it.
long is the battery if you just have it on clock mode though?
I'm not sure, but I've used mine a little bit every day since I've gotten it, and my battery is very low right now, but it is still functioning, and that wasn't even a full charge.
Oh wow.
These things use a Joy-Con battery in them for battery life, and they are all USB-C charging. So it doesn't come with a brick; it just comes with a USB-C cable. But you can plug it into like your Switch dock or whatever, and charge it that way.
Yeah, I charged
And
my
yeah,
my Mario Game and Watch last year. Of course, when it came out, I used it quite a bit, but since then, really not so much.
yeah,
But actually, like a few days ago, I just wanted to look at the clock, and I turned it on, and it was totally fine. Like it has a battery charge, even though I haven't charged it in maybe over a year.
yeah. Yeah, it's the battery for. I want to say the battery life is roughly 8 hours if you're like using it constantly.
That's not bad.
Um, but I don't know for sure, as I've never put it like in clock mode and then like let it drain from a full charge.
Yeah.
Um, the Zelda one also has slightly different packagings. There's a little cardboard thing where the Game and Watch sits in, and it doubles as a stand. Um, there's a little piece in the back that folds out, and you can prop it up, and it has a little Triforce on the left, which obscures the compartment for the USB-C cable, and then a slot for the Game and Watch to sit in. So they kind of went hard on this. It's $50. The packaging is great. The whole experience is great. I think it's a really great gift, especially if you're looking for something for Christmas time to get someone who might like Zelda. It's a great little anniversary souvenir.
How was it like going
Um,
back to Link's Awakening, the black and white version instead of the colored version?
Yeah, it's cool, and it's even cooler because so the Japanese and North American versions are included for Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, which have their differences. But for Link's Awakening, they also have all the different European language versions. And those have their own like little mini Easter eggs and stuff. It feels great. You can even choose your screen resolution. You can either have it fill the screen or you can do the original, which will give it some slight borders. Um, and yeah, I mean it's great. Plays great, and I prefer the black and white Link's Awakening
Oh, really?
over DX. Yeah, you can still do all the weird like map glitch stuff in the original version that they fixed in DX.
Hmm. But no,
So
no color dungeon though.
no color dungeon, but I don't really particularly mind the that whole thing. Would
What
have
do
been
you
cool to get both, but
What do you think about this? Is one of the reasons why I didn't buy the Zelda Game and Watch. What do you
hmm.
think about the red buttons instead of green buttons on the Game and Watch?
Oh, that's kind of a fair point. I hadn't really thought about that. That would have been a cool touch. They did do this thing where each of the buttons, like the little like bezel around the button, is green, which is cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, the buttons themselves are red on both of these models. Um, I hadn't even thought about that.
yeah. Actually, that was like one of the major reasons why I didn't buy it. Of course, I kind of got my fill with the Mario Game and Watch, and so a Zelda Game and Watch it was appealing a bit, but not as much as the Mario one. But when I saw
Yeah,
like the green they were using, I just thought, oh, that green doesn't really match that gold. It doesn't really go together. And the buttons
yeah, it's
are
kind of a
red.
weird. Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah,
I like that they themed it, but it is a little weird.
I mean,
And I
yeah,
guess, yeah,
it's obvious that they're using the buttons from the Mario Game and Watch. So
yeah,
if you made
absolutely.
like millions of those, just use them again. Of course, it makes
Yeah,
sense, but because there actually is like a Greenhouse, which is an old Game and Watch game. It does have a green theme as well, and that one uses green buttons. So I was hoping for something
yeah.
more like that.
That would be hopefully like in the future if they do more of these. That's something that they could do.
That's
I
the
know one
future Nintendo
thing.
Switch Online bonus is the green buttons.
The one thing that I've noticed about these that I'd like them to implement is original Game and Watches have this little clip that folds out to use as a kickstand, and these ones do not for some reason. It'd be nice to have a built-in stand for these, like the original Game and Watches. Just be convenient. Um, but on that note, so we're gonna be making some of our own Game and Watches today, kind of using the same ideas or the idea process for the Mario and Zelda ones. So I guess you're our guest today, Fork. So I guess you can start with the one that you wanted to propose.
Okay, thank you for letting me go first. I guess we actually are saving the best for last. No
We
spoilers.
are saving the best
Yeah.
for last, but
Uh, so I thought about it and I was thinking, okay, what kind of games can you put on the Game and Watch? I'm not sure exactly how powerful this thing is, but Nintendo has been putting mostly Famicom or NES and Famicom and Game Boy games. I'm not sure if you could actually put like F Zero GX on here or something secretly, but
yeah,
I'm going to stick with. So I started thinking about, okay, from the NES and Game Boy era, what is a good franchise to put on here? And I kind of have a more oddball pick, but I thought about putting on the NES or Famicom sports games. For example, baseball and Excite Bike and volleyball, and of course, what are the other ones? Tennis.
Hockey
So
is my favorite.
yes,
yeah, ice hockey is good.
because in America, the NES came out in 1985 with Mario. So we always think of that as, okay, NES came out with Mario and the rest was history. But in Japan, the Famicom, as it's called over there, it came out in 1983. So 2 years before Mario. So what kind of games do they even put on the Famicom before you have your biggest game? Well, they just put real games on there, like baseball and tennis. They put a mahjong game out as well, golf.
Yeah, golf.
Yes. So I'm thinking a lot of these games, they actually still hold up pretty well, especially golf, which was programmed by Iwata himself and is on the Switch's firmware as a secret Easter egg. So I was thinking, okay, if you want to pick a few sports games, why not some of these like pre-Mario Famicom games? Golf, baseball, tennis, and Excite Bike all came out before Mario. I think that's a good package in itself. And you could put volleyball in there as well. Of course, I'm not sure, the hardware limit. I'm sure you could fit quite a bit on here, but and these are like more low profile games, so I think they could shove in a bit more than two or three.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm thinking at least golf, baseball, tennis, volleyball, and Excite Bike. I think those 5 games, that would be a bit of an appealing package to me. And,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that would be really cute. I like those old sports games quite a bit.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you've played like a recent sports game, like MLB The Show or Madden, but they are really not easy to kind of like jump into.
No, not at all.
No, they are not.
And part of the appeal of like these older sports games that I really started to appreciate a bit more once the Nintendo Switch Online, when they gave us a bunch of sports titles on Famicom and Super Famicom, were that wow, it's really easy to just pick up and play. It's very simple. There's no like complicated stats or anything. So these types of games, I think, appeal to people who maybe like the older generation as well, who played maybe golf or tennis like way, way back in the day. And they don't have a Switch, they don't want to buy it, but they might have something portable that they can play on the train or on the bus somewhere. That's really easy to learn and easy to get into.
Yeah, and I mean, you have the Game & Watch systems that they've put out so far are basically NES controls. You have 2 action buttons and a D-pad, so, like, that's perfect.
Yeah, the only problem I'm thinking is, okay, well, what color could the Game & Watch be? I was thinking kind of like I guess a dark blue.
Yeah.
A lot of sports teams use, dark blue as their primary color, and they don't really have any sort of unifying color. Maybe a brown for like dirt for baseball or Excite Bike, but that might be a little unappealing visually.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with the dark blue, like a navy blue.
Yeah, I think that sounds nice,
Sounds
actually.
nice.
It's a very... So here's a question for you. So, on the Game & Watches, on the top, there's a title. So, like, the Zelda one says The Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
What would this one say?
Oh, that's a good one. Because they're not part of like a series or anything. It's not like, Touch Generation or
Yeah.
you could put like Nintendo Sports or
Yeah, some of the old sports boxes actually do have. Clay, do you remember what title they say on them? Like they say like the genre of the games on.
Oh,
the really
yeah, like
old
from the
NES
black
cartridges.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Like
think
it would literally
Nintendo's-
just like the cart would literally just say like sports or action.
Yeah.
Puzzle.
Could be. I mean, you could. Yeah, Nintendo Sports could work.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to be, I guess, if you wanted to be simpler, I guess you could just put sports, but
yeah.
or like NES Sports or something like that. So you liked the clock in the Mario Game
Mm.
and Watch. Did you have an idea for the clock on this one?
I think like an Excitebike theme would be pretty good because Excitebike does have like different tracks and different colors. And so maybe like depending, like in the morning, it could be like the more yellow track. And at nighttime, it could be like
Yeah.
the blue, kind of darker track color. Or it could also just alternate between like different games for different hours. Like, oh, 3 to 7 is the golf hour.
Right. That's fun. I like that. Especially like thinking of Excitebike as kind of like if you used Excitebike as like the 24-hour clock and it changing like the time of day and stuff.
Yeah, I imagine like Excite Bike and then like baseballs flying in the background on like in the hour or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
that could be fun.
Like
Yeah, it'd be
home
fun to
run.
actually like mix them or something. Like you have a golf and a baseball themed one together somehow.
Be fun if you could so the Mario one lets you like drop enemies and stuff. It'd be fun if pushing buttons on there would drop like course parts for Excitebike. That the little like motorcycle will drive over. That would be a cute little like interactive thing, I think.
Yeah, or maybe like add more people to the Excite Bike track.
Yeah,
Just have like
yeah,
30
something
people
like
racing
that.
at the same time.
Yeah, it kind of makes me reminds me a little bit of I believe it was on 3DS. They had the Excitebike visualizer for 3DS music, um, where like the sound of the music or whatever will change the course hills
Hmm.
and stuff. But it was like a little cute interactive thing. Um, did you was there any other little features or anything that you'd want to include? How about the Game and Watch game? What would you go with?
Yeah, I was thinking about that and looking at like the Game and Watch catalog, they actually didn't really put out a lot of sports games on the real Game and Watch. There's
Right.
pinball, which I'm not sure if pinball technically counts as a sport, but it has a ball, so you
Hmm.
could maybe do
Yeah.
something with that, like a pinball version, but it's a basketball instead, and it's heavy and slow, something like that.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cute. I think pinball isn't like really a sport, but like it kind of fits in with the general theme, especially um since these are like the black box early sports
Hmm.
games.
Yeah,
Mm.
Um,
it's not my pick, but a pinball game and watch would also be cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
yeah.
neat.
Pinball as an like an LCD pinball game would be cute. I think in general.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Any other thoughts or bonus things that you can think of that you'd want on there?
Just put in the Mario drawing song again. I really love that, so just put it on everything.
Put it on everything. I like that. The Mario drawing song is very cute. And the Zelda Game and Watch actually does not have like an equivalent
Mm.
to something like that. So I'd like to see something like that come back again. Um, all right. So one up. What is yours looking like?
I chose Donkey Kong because I'm a big
Ooh,
fan of that gorilla, and the
yeah.
colors of mine would be kind of brown and tan, and then the buttons would
Hmm.
be red for his tie.
Oh,
Very.
that's cute.
Mhm. The games included would be the arcade version of Donkey Kong, of course.
Hmm.
Then you have Donkey Kong 94, because
Mm,
Donkey Kong 94 is fantastic, and it's a Game Boy game, so it fits within the constraints allowed so far.
right.
If you put a third game on there, probably Donkey Kong Jr., and
Yep.
maybe as like a hidden Easter egg, like Donkey Kong Jr. Math.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Um, for the Game and Watch game, which classic Game and Watch game fits with
I
Donkey
mean,
Kong the
there is a
best?
very clear one in my mind. I don't know if it's the one you're thinking of.
What's the one?
Donkey Kong Jr.
Is the Game and Watch? Oh yeah, that would
Yeah,
that would
it
that would make sense. But they've previously just like reskinned other
yeah.
Game and Watch games weirdly, even though like Zelda has one too, doesn't it?
Zelda and Mario both have Game and Watch games, although Zelda's is a two-screen one.
Yeah,
But Mario one, yeah, they definitely could have put Super Mario Bros. Game and Watch on the Mario Game and Watch, but instead we got Ball with Mario's head.
yeah. I don't. That's seems like more work than just putting the
Yeah,
Mario one on there.
yeah, kind of.
So yeah, you can just put the Donkey Kong one on, buck the trend, and just put the actual thing on.
Well, did you have another idea for
Oh
which
no,
one?
I was just trying to rack my brain for other Manhole. Was that done yet?
Manhole's not been done yet. No,
Great. Show Manhole in there. Put Donkey Kong on that.
Manhole was
Boom.
fun actually.
Yeah,
I
Manhole is
dig
fun.
Manhole.
I like Manhole.
Um, do you have any idea for what the clock would look like?
Oh, the clock's definitely got to be the classic Donkey Kong stage. The first one with the barrels falling down, and maybe even like the barrels falling down could be like timed to like the seconds if they're slowed down enough. Then you got little
Oh,
Mario in the
that's
background
cute.
jumping up and down. He's smacking blocks. Uh, Maybe on every hour he gets to the top, rescues Paulina, or not rescues
That would,
Paulina, but like you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah, that's cute actually. I kind of super dig that.
So I don't know what the hourly themes would be. It's just different colors.
Yeah, you can change the colors and
Yeah,
stuff every hour. Add
maybe
like little background nonsense.
yeah, maybe Donkey Kong Jr. shows up at some point.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Jr. shows up to help Papa,
Throws
or it
extra
starts
barrels.
or it starts snowing for some reason. Like random.
Just seasonal effects.
Yeah. Donkey Kong in moonlight.
Yeah, I feel like I would play a Donkey Kong one a lot just because I love Donkey Kong 94. So like just having that with me would be
So, would you
fun time.
want Donkey Kong 94 in its original version, or do you want it the colorized
It would
Super
probably be
Game
the
Boy?
original one just to be a
Yeah,
purist because
yeah,
I don't think many people are familiar with the what is it, Super Game Boy version.
yeah. The Super Game Boy version is kind of like it's one of the few games that really like goes hard on Super Game Boy.
Yeah, it's so fascinating how that code was just on the cartridge,
Yeah,
like instructions of how to make this in color. It's just
yeah.
it's wild thinking
I'm
about it.
I would love to see that implemented on a Game and Watch, even if it doesn't have like the border, right, like
Hmm.
the arcade machine border, but just
Yeah.
like the colorization. Could be like Link's Awakening, where you can like choose like the screen size or choose if you want it colorized or not.
Oh, that'd be cool. Man. It would-
Uh,
mhm.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it'd be cool if one of the Game and Watches like you had to like turn to the side for like a vertical game or something,
Oh yeah, like Spitball Sparky or
or like Donkey
um,
Kong 3.
yeah, that's right. So Donkey Kong 3 is a two-player Game and Watch game, which is interesting. You're spraying. I think you're spraying a bug or you're spraying something.
Oh
Maybe
wow, I
Donkey
was,
Kong
I was thinking about
himself.
the arcade game, but I guess
Oh yeah. Because there's a Donkey Kong 3 Game and Watch
oh
game,
that's cool.
and I believe it's you are spraying Donkey Kong back and forth at each other, and when he gets to one end, that person loses.
That reminds me of push mode. Do you remember push mode in Tetris DS,
Hmm.
which was Donkey Kong themed,
Oh, that's funny.
and you would push the Tetris pieces and try to push them into the opponent's like Donkey Kong area.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Just
No,
the way you
oh,
phrased that.
it's so much fun. Yeah.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
push it into the Donkey Kong area. Um, yeah, I think that's really cute, actually. I actually had an idea for the Donkey Kong one
Mhm.
that I was wondering if you'd hear me out on.
Okay,
So
I'll hear you out on
there,
it.
there was this DSiWare game called Donkey Metronome, and what it was is Donkey Kong would drop barrels at a specific timing, and then you would clap to make Mario jump over them in sequence with the timing.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought it would be fun. Obviously, there's no microphone on these things, but even if you mapped it to a button press or something, if there was some version of that uh, on there, this is just one of those weird little cute mini game things, and it kind of like the speed increases and changes as you go through.
Yeah, maybe if you like input the Donkey Kong code on the clock, you'll get that.
The Donkey Kong code.
Everybody knows the Donkey Kong code.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say it
Don-
on this podcast because I don't want to spoil it for non-Donkey Kong fans. But
Donkey Kong code. They also have all these like cute art pieces on the Famicom, or sorry, on the Game and Watches, like the Mario art and the Zelda art. be fun to see like Donkey Kong arcade art or Donkey Kong 94 art.
Yeah, that
Like,
the traditional like arcade. What are they called? Like arcade.
Arcade
What are like the
Archives?
borders around arcade? What is it?
Is it Arcade Archives?
No, no, no. Like those, like just like the arcade stand, like the like Donkey Kong logo on there
Oh,
is nice.
like the marquees
Yeah,
and like
marquee.
the
Yeah,
side art.
that's the
Yeah.
word. Yep.
Yeah, there's the control panel art and stuff too, which is
Mm.
cute. Um, you're not. Are you? See, something I was thinking about with some of these is they released some Game and Watches towards the end of life that were there was one that was Mario the Juggler, for example,
Mm.
and it has so it's like the normal Game and Watch front, but underneath the Game and Watch logo, like in that empty space, there's like a little Mario like art, like little Mario art under it. I was kind of wondering it would be cute if like had like a little Donkey Kong or like Excite Bike uh, driver or something in that empty spot.
That's
Um,
on the Game and Watch, or that's
yeah,
in
it's
the
on the
game.
Game and Watch
Oh,
itself, like underneath the Game and Watch logo.
oh, that's cute.
Yeah, they never did that again
Mm.
after the initial set, um, which is a shame. Um,
I want to
but yeah,
praise
did
you.
you have? Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to praise you real quickly for your color choice because, of course, I think most people would probably say yellow for the Donkey Kong Game and Watch,
Yeah.
but this is pre-banana Donkey Kong. He didn't care
Mm.
about bananas at all at this moment in time.
Yeah, he hated bananas at this point.
Bananas.
He just liked women named Pauline.
uh, yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. I probably would have been like, yeah, Donkey Kong's yellow. Go with that. Um,
It's weird. It's
did you
weird.
have?
I don't think of yellow as Donkey Kong's colors. Like I get the banana thing, but that's yeah, my mind just didn't go there. But that's a good point.
Did did you have any other details or anything else that you wanted to share about a Donkey Kong Game and Watch?
No, I think I about covered it.
Sweet. All right. Well, I picked Kid Icarus for mine because I figured Kirby. I would have picked Kirby, but you'll see why I didn't pick Kirby in a little bit. I thought about Pokemon, which has plenty of opportunities as well. Metroid is kind of another one that people would probably pick. But I went with Kid Icarus because there's kind of less to work with Kid Icarus. Um, so the color would definitely be purple. It'd be like a deep purple around the outside, like a darkish purple. And I think it would be very fun as if, like the Zelda one has a little Triforce that lights up. If this one had a little eggplant or eggplant wizard that lights up
Mm.
on the system itself. I think it would be nice to have artwork of Pit underneath the Game and Watch logo as well, or like Palutena or something. Um, the game choice is obviously a little limited because you kind of already know what that's going to be. It's going to be Kid Icarus on NES and then Of Myths and Monsters on Game Boy.
And Uprising,
Um,
the 3DS game.
because I mean, can't really do Uprising um, on the Game and Watch format. But I thought, even though there's not as many games, the regional variants for them are still interesting. So you can include, the Famicom Disk System version of Kid Icarus One, um, and which reminds me, before I go on, I did have another idea for the Donkey Kong one that I completely forgot about. Um, they have those secret code things in each of these Game and Watches. What if you had one that started you on like level 4 difficulty
Mm.
for DK and DK Junior?
That's pretty
Because
cool.
like you have to get pretty far into those games to get to that point. I think it would be fun to be able to start there and get demolished.
You also
Um,
reminded me about the light thing, and
yeah,
you can definitely throw a little banana on there as the light to
yeah,
acknowledge the later generations.
you could do a barrel or
Oh, barrel makes more sense. Yeah,
yeah.
barrel.
Um, but anyway, in regards to Kid Icarus, So I thought one thing that would be fun is for the timer. So they introduced a timer in the Zelda Game and Watch, like I mentioned earlier. I thought it would be fun. So the Zelda Game and Watch does it as like an enemy, like an enemy. What do you call it? Like an enemy like rush down kind of thing. Kid Icarus has these like rooms that you can go into where you fight a swarm of enemies and then get some sort of like treasure. Um, Kid Icarus's game mechanics are kind of weird. Like you need to have like a certain amount of health to be able to earn weapons, and to get health you need to have a high score like at the end of a stage. Like it's kind of all like weird. Um, but I thought it would be fun if you had a timer mini game that was you had a couple different of those like dungeons with different enemies in them that you would need to fight until time ran out. Um, and for the clock, most people associate Kid Icarus with like the big vertical stages and stuff. But there's these dungeon stages in Kid Icarus at the end of every world where it's like they're like scrolling like Zelda kind of like it's not top down, but like the scrolling is kind of like if it was top down, like they're segmented rooms. Um, and I think it would be fun if the clock was like Pit going through like a lot of those like going through each of those like dungeon rooms, and then you eventually fight like there's a dungeon boss at the end. um that would be fun if you could do those like maybe every like couple hours it moves to a different dungeon or something.
That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
For the Game and Watch game, it's kind of hard to pick something for Kid Icarus. So the one that I went with is actually Climber, which is kind of based on Ice Climber, but it's a vertical scrolling jumping platform game that like works well enough with Kid Icarus, I think. If you change the like basic character sprite into Pit, you still it still has the element where like you have to like hit your head into blocks to remove like a layer of them so you can like climb up higher. But it's you can change like there's a bunch of different enemies. Like there was like a bird enemy that I saw, and some other types of enemies. You could change those into like the Grim Reaper, or the weird little worms and slugs or whatever that are in the underground section of Kid Icarus. Um, and the You could easily have for like a light up thing. You could have like his bow, or you could have the eggplant on the back, like I mentioned. But for cheats, I think a lot of people have not seen like what Kid Icarus is like when you have the better weapons and better items. I mean, you could do something that just um, starts you there
That'd be cool.
with
I've only
like
gotten to like level 3 or something of that game.
yeah, like if you get either like some kind of like thing that gives you access to the best like power ups, or at least like the best health, um, would be helpful, I think. Um, and you could do something similar for the Game Boy game as well. I think it's just it's one of those basic things, but like it's still neat. I think a level select could be cool too. I can't remember if because the NES version uses passwords, and the Famicom Disk System version uses save files. So I don't know. There could be some kind of function for that, I suppose. Um, but yeah, that's kind of mostly what I'm thinking. I guess an alternate thing you could do is use the end of the game of Kid Icarus where you're in that shooting section against Medusa as like a clock background at some point too. That could be like
Mm.
the grand finale of the clock, I guess.
Yeah, midnight.
Yeah, like right before midnight, you go through the scrolling level to fight Medusa, or you just fight Medusa right there.
Mhm. It would be cool to have a way to play, like another way to play Kid Icarus 2, because I never really played that one. I might
Yeah,
have
it's a neat
loaded it up
game.
like once or twice. Do you like playing it?
It's a cool game. I need to spend more time with it, to be honest. But it's a very cool game. Pretty ambitious, I would say, too.
Hmm.
And it's structurally similar to the first in that it has, those dungeon areas and stuff, too.
That makes
Um,
sense.
I think there's just so many different things that you can do with these. I don't know if they're you might maybe you could include the you know how they released those Kid Icarus Uprising like anime shorts.
Yeah.
You could include those on there too. I mean, you can't include Uprising, but you can include that, you know, like the Mario drawing song. Um, so I think there's a lot of opportunity to do some fun stuff
Definitely.
with these. Um, so uh, we saved Kirby for last because we figured that Kirby has the most options, and that it would be fun to kind of all of us to kind of put our ideas together for Kirby. So I guess to start off, I'll ask each of you what color should what color should the Kirby Game and Watch be?
Well, obviously, it needs to be Kirby pink.
And you wanna?
I think it should be pink.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're all in agreement
If you
that
ask Miyamoto,
it
though,
should.
he'll say it should be yellow.
Yeah, or you make
Actually,
it
Kirby was
white.
originally white, so
um, Game selection, I think, is another one. Well, there's a lot of opportunities for game selection for Kirby
I
because Kirby has a lot of games on Game Boy.
yeah, I
Um,
have it though.
okay, what is it?
It's Adventure, of course. It's
Mhm.
Dreamland 1 and 2, and then it's
Mhm.
Kirby's Pinball Land.
Okay, how about you,
That would be
Fork?
my choices.
Of course, yeah, Dreamland, you've got to put that on there. Kirby's Adventure as well. The NES version of Kirby's Adventure, I love that game, but my only criticism is that it kind of has like some sort of, I don't want to say frame rate. I'm not sure if that
No, it is
applies to
frame
it.
rate. It
Yeah,
has slowdown.
yeah, like slow down and like kind of like glitches. The 3DS classic version of Kirby's Adventure on the 3DS, it got rid of all of that, so
Yep.
it was like very smooth. So maybe it's some sort of like middle ground, or just take the 3DS classic version and put it on the Game and Watch, just without the 3D functionality, of course.
Yeah,
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, and of course, Kirby Dream Land 2. I think yeah, those three. If it had it, I would probably buy it just on those three alone.
yeah,
But yeah, he has a lot of like smaller Game Boy games as well, like Star Stacker, Kirby's Pinball. I love as well. I would pick Pinball over Star Stacker. So
Oh,
I
any
think
day.
yeah, 1, 2 for Dreamland, Kirby's Adventure, of course. Pinball, I think that would be a great package.
I know for me, what I was thinking, I figured we'd all agree on Dreamland 1 and Kirby's Adventure. It was more of a matter of what else. I don't think this would ever happen, but the one that I really want is for them to go the extra mile and to include Tilt and Tumble.
Oh yeah,
Because that game is annoying to play on a Game Boy Advance SP due to how the cartridge calibration works.
and yeah, the backlight as well.
Yeah, and you have the backlight here, which is helpful. And it's one of those games that's like it hasn't been re-released before, and I think that makes it special as well.
Yeah,
Um,
it's fun. It's not amazing, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's a neat game, and I think it would be like special.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, and it's a hard game to actually remake as well because it relies so heavily on the technology.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if they either have to leave it the same and leave the Game Boy graphics in for calibration, or you know, create new Game and Watch graphics for calibration, but that would also mean including some sort of a gyro sensor or accelerometer.
Which I'm guessing those aren't expensive anymore.
They're not, but it's just a matter of
It's like but
yeah.
it would be really cool.
And I think obviously the other Game Boy games are cool. The other third option that I've thought about, and unfortunately I haven't played this, so I don't know how adaptable the controls are to a Game and Watch format, but Kirby's Super Star Stacker on Super Famicom never got translated and released in the West, and it's basically just a better version of Kirby Star Stacker on Game Boy. And again, I don't know if it uses like how many buttons it actually uses, and if it can be consolidated or tweaked for a Game and Watch setting, and how much work they would really want to put into that. But that's kind of another one of those like dream scenarios that whatever the third game is something kind of special that is really special for the anniversary.
Yeah, I was gonna say if there's like a dream game, and if like we're going like the extra mile,
Mm-hmm.
then I guess like Superstar Saga is like people's like one of people's absolute favorites, isn't it?
You mean Superstar?
Superstar, yes, Superstar, not Superstar Saga, which is a different game.
Yeah, I mean that's where you're getting to the point where you need more buttons.
Yeah,
and,
you're right.
You know, and I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's adaptable, but
But I think what we
would
have
love to
here
see.
is a really good package.
Yeah, I'd like to see something like that. Game and Watch game.
Cake
What's it gonna be?
Factory.
Pinball, but with Kirby.
Because Kirby eats cake.
Okay, those are two answers I wasn't expecting. Pinball is actually a really great idea. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I guess if you are going to put Kirby's Pinball Land in there, you don't really need it, but it is the easiest go-to.
Yeah. That's true. It is the easiest, yeah, that is definitely the easiest choice. And what one were you talking about? One up? What was your
What is it? Cake Factory?
Mario Cement Factory?
Yes. Wasn't there a cake one too?
The cake one is the regular Mario Bros. Game, which I know the modern version of it in one of the Game and Watch galleries it's like a cake like creation thing. It's a weird.
Yeah.
You like push switches and stuff, and like stuff falls into place.
Yes, it's fantastic.
And Mario Bros is interesting.
Was that related to Cement Factory? Was it like a reskin of it?
No,
It was
it's its
completely
own thing.
different.
The thing with the Mario Bros. Game and Watch is that it is a horizontal 2-screen game. But I mean, I suppose if they based it on the they based it on the Game and Watch gallery version, you could probably make that work. Because I think it's mostly just a visual gimmick, because they travel on conveyor belts and it goes from one screen to the other screen. But I don't completely recall. Mine was just going to be chef.
Oh, yeah.
either have Kirby as the chef or Kawasaki as the chef.
We both had food in mind.
Yeah, we definitely had food in mind, and Fork had pinball in mind, which is probably the better answer.
I was going to round things.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was called Cake Factory, but yeah, it was called Mario Bros. It was cakes and it was like a factory line, so I'm like Cake Factory.
Yeah. Yeah, Mario has a couple factory Game and Watch games.
He used to be a blue-collar man, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
He
really
used to be a
like
man of the people, then he sold out.
Then he sold out, yeah. I'd really like if they started including, on top of the regular Game & Watch game, if they started including modern versions of the games, kind of like what they did in Game & Watch Gallery.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
Because you could have Chef with, like, Kawasaki cooking and, like, Kirby eating or whatever. So, what about the clock?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
It would be like a boss rush theme.
Oh, yeah.
Probably from Dreamland 1. So you'd have like Wispy Woods, or there are a lot of the bosses the same. But yeah, you have Wispy Woods, then the, what are they, like the cloud with
Kracko?
the eyeball?
Oh, Kracko?
Yeah. You got Wispy Woods, you got Kracko, so it goes through those boss fights. And then has like the time in the middle.
That's a cute idea. What about you, Fork?
I like the boss rush because that's something Kirby is like really famous for. And
Yeah.
Kirby's is like a pretty easy franchise, but the boss rushes really aren't a joke at all. That is like the most difficult part of those games.
Yeah.
Time I was thinking, like in Kirby's Adventure, it does kind of show not like a time lapse, but depending on which world you go to, some has sunset, some is night. So maybe something like relating to that.
Yeah.
I forget the names, like Orange Soda Land or something. But
Yeah,
maybe
there's
having
like Orange Ocean,
Yeah.
Butter Building.
And like,
Having, like,
those
the,
are really cute screens too, because there's. Do they do this in Kirby's Dream Land 2? I think they do it in Adventure as well, where like they show you like a little cutscene before you go to the world.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that kind of screen, like Kirby like lounging on a beach with like the time in the background.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know. It's
think
kind of
having the
relaxing.
time themed around like each of those levels from Kirby's Adventure with that same color palette would be really good.
Hmm. And then
It'd
have like
be
his like pets dancing around in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be cute if you had like a thing, kind of like the Zelda one, where you kind of go through the entirety of Kirby's Adventure in that 12-hour format, and
Mm.
like you transition from area to area. Maybe like you see each boss or whatever. Um, Mine was a bit different for the clock. So something about Kirby I think that's really special is the music. Um, Kirby has had consistently has some of the most awesome music out there over its upcoming 30th anniversary. Um, so I thought it would be fun is if the clock also functioned as kind of like a music player. Um, so it was like each scene, um, maybe each hour, there was a different scene that would play out and a song that goes with it. With the Zelda Game and Watch, if you hold the button down on the clock screen for 5 seconds, it will start playing the Zelda BGM and sound effects. So I thought something similar for Kirby, where if you hold the button down for 5 seconds or whatever, the clock will play music. So you could have maybe um, you could either have music that is like remixed music that has been included in future Kirby games, or you could include like you know a scene with fighting King Dedede, and there's the King Dedede music, and there's a scene where Kirby's in Rainbow Resort and it plays the Rainbow Resort music. You could do something like that. Um, you could do different art pieces too. The Game and Watches love having different artwork, and Kirby gets a lot of a lot of artwork that's both like
Mm.
game artwork and like just stuff they post on Twitter. Um, so I thought that could be a fun um, use of that, and maybe pressing buttons just makes sound effects or makes something basic happen on the clock face. Um, and then another thought that I'd had was maybe there'd be a couple of songs, say like I don't know, say like they have like a song for every hour, right? So like say there's 12 songs. If you held the button down, you'd get to choose between a certain like maybe like 3 or 4 songs, and then do a little rhythm mini game alongside it. Like DDD's Drum Dash on a 3DS
Mm.
is a cute little. I was thinking something much more basic than that, but even if you like just tap a button with the timing of the music or something as like
Mm.
little stars go by, something
I'm thinking of
simple.
like that little Splatoon mini game.
Yeah, something even more simple than that. Even if it was just like a single button press, would be cute, and it could like save your high score or whatever. Or like maybe mark the song with a star when you perfected it or something. Um,
These are all great ideas.
Yeah.
so a few more things then. Timer. As you know, Zelda has a timer that ticks down. Uh, did anyone have any ideas for a timer minigame?
Maybe not just a timer, but maybe implementing like an alarm clock would be really
Yeah,
useful for Kirby. He loves to sleep, of course, and that would be
yeah,
a new feature that the other Game and Watches don't have.
yeah. I dig that. You can have him on the that screen that plays in a lot of Kirby games when you get the game over and he's sleeping and then the hand wakes him up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Um, you could have something like that for the alarm clock, and then it plays some horrible sound when it's time to wake up. What about you? One up?
I did not have any ideas for the timer that are coming
I,
to
I
mind.
had a similar thing, like the Zelda one does, where there's there's those fight rooms that you get into in Kirby's Adventure where you fight Meta Knights, like flunkies, um, and I think it's kind of like a little mini enemy rush thing, and you could do that
Hmm.
with it. I know the Zelda timer has it so that the timer like numbers are little um, triangles,
Mm.
like the Triforce.
Mm.
The Kirby one could be stars. But I thought it'd be fun if you had, instead of having, so Zelda one has, you have a couple different stages that you can do. my thought would be that not only would the stage or background change, but the character would change. So like one of them would be Kirby, one of them would be Meta Knight, and one of them would be Dedede, and you'd have to like fight the enemies with that character. I think it would be cute, and you can set it in that 1 to 10 minute interval thing again, and when you finish, in the Zelda one, all of the Triforce pieces come from the the timer to form a big Triforce that Link's holding. I think you could make it so that all the stars form one of the end of the level stars from Kirby, and then he jumps up and gets it and does the Kirby dance.
That's really cute.
Would be fun. And then lastly, can we all agree that the light up thing would be a star?
Yeah,
It would be a pink star
Yes.
on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Any other last ideas for Kirby, just in general, that have not been discussed?
Secret boss rush code.
Those are fun. I think Kirby's Adventure has a boss mode in it
that's cool.
when you finish the game. And I mean, Kirby Dreamland has extra mode, which is just the harder version. I would personally dig for Kirby's Adventure if there was a button code that you can do that would just make your health be in half for the game.
Hero mode.
Yeah, like a harder mode. Newer Kirby games have done that, where they like chop your health in half and then have you go through the game with some changes again. I think it's 6 vitality or something like that in Adventure, so like chop it down to 3 and have you play through the whole game like that would be fun. Because again, yeah, Kirby's generally an easier series, so like making it even easier might not be that amusing, but maybe making it slightly harder could be. But yeah, I would be down for some cute Kirby art on the Game & Watch too. Kirby sleeping or Kirby eating or whatever. Waddle Dees. There's all kinds of fun stuff that you can do with Kirby, which is why I'm really hoping that they go for it next year.
Yeah, and all that art is original for the Game & Watch, so it's really cool to see it for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. You can fit a lot of fun Kirby images and little Easter eggs in there too. So yeah, that's going to be about it for today. Hope you had fun listening to our little Game & Watch workshop.
Yeah, thank you for this idea, Clay. It was fun.
That we had. So before we go, a couple things. First off, we have a Discord server. If you're not in it, you can find it if you go to nintendopipeline.wordpress.com, which also hosts some community articles. We're always looking for more people to do those. We're kind of in a hiatus with that at the moment, but we do have a good amount of backlog content to go through. Additionally, you're listening to this right now on whatever streaming service you prefer, but just so you know, we are on everything from YouTube to Apple Podcasts to Breaker to Spotify. So if you'd prefer to listen to us on one of those, go for it. And if you enjoyed it, please consider following, or if you're on YouTube, liking and subscribing or whatever, all that good stuff. I want to thank our special guest today, Fork. And Fork, where can people find you if they want to find you, or if you want to be found?
Yes. I also have a podcast called Tokyo Game Life, where I talk about, of course, Nintendo games and introduce interesting game-related cultural elements of Tokyo to everyone. So you can just search for Tokyo Game Life in all your podcast apps and also on social media channels, and you should be able to find me in there somewhere. So if you're
very cool.
you need more Nintendo in your head, which everyone should, please check it out.
Sweet. And is there like a Twitter or anything that you want to?
Just like at Tokyo Game Life. If you just search for that, just
cool.
Use that.
Sweet.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun to talk about the Game & Watch, of course.
Yeah, thank you guys both for being here. And I guess until next time, yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you next week sometime. We got some more fun stuff coming up in December, so stay tuned. Bye bye.